Alright boys, we're looking at Outbreak Perfected yet again, except it is in its final form. That's right guys, we have the exotic catalyst here in front of us. Now in today's video I want to answer whether or not this exotic catalyst is worth the grind, because yes, it will require you to do 0 hour at least 3 times, as well as a bunch of puzzles. Shout out to my clanmates for carrying me every week, but let's jump into this exotic catalyst review. So right off the bat guys, Outbreak comes with the exotic catalyst called Disease Vector, which increases nanite damage, and also enemies that die with nanites attached to them generate additional nanites. Now again, for those that need a refresher, Outbreak comes with the exotic perk, the Corruption Spreads, which of course create these Siva nanite swarms on rapid hits or precision kills. It also comes with the trait Parasitism, which allows this weapon to deal more damage to enemies based on the number of Siva nanites that attaches to them. So clearly here, Disease Vector is aiding Outbreak Perfected in so many ways by increasing this nanite damage and generating more nanites. So first up, let's jump into the nanites themselves. Upon getting a precision kill in any activity, whether it's PVE or PVP, you spawn a total of 9 nanites. With Disease Vector and this exotic catalyst, killing an enemy that has nanites already attached to them will actually generate up to 12 nanites. Now again, the picture is not super clear. I actually stopped it frame by frame, was counting them. I counted 11 once and 12 another time, but it's somewhere between 11 and 12 nanites that spawn. Now simultaneously, the nanite damage that also is increased actually increases by 30%. Now this is a really big deal, especially in something like Crucible. Nanites previously was doing like 10 damage per nanite, so say you get a precision kill and all those nanites hit the next enemy next to him, it'll do a total of 90 damage. With that 30% increase though, that nanite damage has now jumped up to 13 damage per nanite, with a total of 117 damage in total if all nanites hit them. Now of course, Outbreak Perfected's damage inside of Crucible is capped at 44 per crit, but you can clearly see here that with this exotic catalyst, to get a kill off on an enemy after landing all these nanites on them would really not even require a full burst. Just 2 shots is enough here to kill all Guardians, even max resilience ones. So in PvP guys, is there a benefit from this exotic catalyst? I mean, it's not going to be a game changer. At the end of the day, Outbreak Perfected is a very consistent pulse rifle. That's why so many people like using it. Cool Guy actually recently said that there's probably a hidden stat on this pulse rifle, which is probably persistence, which is a perk on Destiny 1 guns. It essentially states that the longer you fire the weapon, the more accurate the weapon gets. And of course, Outbreak here definitely seems like it gets more and more accurate the more you lay on that trigger. And that's why so many people like Outbreak, whether you're a console player or a PC player. So to me guys, I wouldn't look at this exotic catalyst in PvP as just a game changer. It's just more or less a cherry on top. I mean, the weapon already has a 0.87 second time to kill, and with just 1 nanite attaching to an enemy, our time to kill here actually drops down to 0.7. So yeah, again, this exotic catalyst spawning more nanites upon getting multi-kills, it's just gonna keep adding more and more to that. Now I do want to talk about a complaint of mine, which doesn't necessarily seem to be linked to the exotic catalyst, but I felt like today the nanites themselves had a tougher time tracking enemies. Now could have just been my lobbies, maybe there was some funky connections going on. Whether that's linked to the exotic catalyst or not, I have no idea. I just know that for me, getting multi-kills today seemed to be a little more of an issue. It was as if the nanites themselves weren't actually attaching themselves soon enough for me to actually gain the benefit of that additional damage. Now, when I was testing things out with Cartel and we were seeing what the actual distance and range was for the nanites to start tracking, it did seem like it got a small increase in radius detection here for the nanites. So again, nothing huge, I'm talking maybe half a meter at most, maybe a meter, but was definitely something noticeable. Now moving on to PvE, this is something I really wanted to test because we've seen clips of bosses, strike bosses, and raid bosses absolutely getting destroyed by Outbreak Perfected, which guys is pretty incredible considering it's a primary. Now here with Greg again, this is actually me melting Greg without the catalyst active. Now it took approximately a little more than 15 seconds to down him. Now with the exotic catalyst, this actually dropped that time to kill for Greg to about 14 seconds with Outbreak Perfected. So again, not a huge game changer here. A lot of that is probably more associated with the fact that the nanites themselves are doing more damage. But again, guys, in this scenario, similar to something like Malfeasance, the more players you stack together with Outbreak, the more the damage is actually going to increase for you. So you get 6 players and they're all hitting at the same time. You've got all these nanites actually getting that 30% increase in damage. You can see why you'll be able to down bosses so quickly. So, is the exotic catalyst for Outbreak Perfected worth it? I think for my PvE players, most definitely. I think this is something that you're definitely going to want to pick up, because whether you're actually dealing damage to a boss or clearing large amounts of ads, everything about this exotic catalyst is aiding that. Spawning more nanites, attaching them to more enemies, and then of course once you kill them, it spawns even more nanites. It just rains nanites, man. It's pretty nasty. And considering that Whisper's getting a nerf, I don't know. We might actually complete the next raid with a primary weapon of all things. Can you imagine? DPS phase comes up and everybody just pulls out their outbreaks? Like, that may actually be the strat, especially with this catalyst. For my more dedicated PvP players, I don't really know if this exotic catalyst is needed. Again, like I said, it's a cherry on top. Having some initial nanite damage definitely secures more kills. And hopefully what I experienced today, where the nanites were like taking a little too long to actually attach themselves to opponents, hopefully that was just on me today. You know what I mean? That was just my lobbies. Maybe there was something going on and not actually tied to the exotic catalyst itself. Either way it goes, guys, Outbreak Perfected and its exotic catalyst are well worth your time to get. So get your hands on it. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching. And as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.